Body positivity and health at every size are wrong and potentially even dangerous. At least that's my opinion. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you why I think so. Let's start with body positivity. In my opinion, body positivity started out as a good thing. Rather than feeling bad because of things like acne or cellulitis or scars, you should embrace your body and like it for what it is, not just despite all these flaws, but because of them. And body positivity also argues that beauty standards are just an artificial construct of our society. That's why they should not define your confidence or self-worth. And I agree. Beauty standards are often unrealistic and unattainable, and they're also changing with every season. So chasing them will ultimately just make you unhappy. And so instead, body positivity argues that we should normalize that bodies just look different and don't necessarily conform to these artificial beauty standards. And in my opinion, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We live in a world where the majority of teenagers don't like their bodies, and this is a dangerous trend because it can lead to mental health problems such as eating disorders and body dysmorphia. So I think it's a good thing to getting away from defining your self-worth and confidence through your looks. However, I do have a problem with what the body positivity movement has become in recent years. Because this more traditional and inclusive body positivity has turned into a very exclusive fat acceptance movement. And basically, this fat acceptance movement wants us to accept and glorify bodies of all sizes and shapes, even and especially when they are overweight or obese. And I understand that overweight people face a lot of stigma and discrimination. So I'm okay with the acceptance part, because no one should be shamed for or discriminated against because of their size, their shape, their skin color, their height, their gender, you name it. We should just generally not shame people. So in my opinion, the problem lies more in the glorifying part. Because the fat acceptance movement, and by extension the body positivity movement, claims that you can be healthy at every size. And this is simply not true. But let's look at it more closely. The World Health Organization defines health as the complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease and infirmity. Meaning that just because you're not sick doesn't mean you're automatically healthy. And likewise, it means that blood markers aren't everything. Even though your blood might be fine, your joints may not. Because when you're overweight, that puts a lot of stress on your bones and your joints, and they can get damaged over time from the extra load that they need to carry. You also have to consider the mental and the social aspects. For example, when you're severely over or underweight, you may not have the ability to partake in activities with your friends and families and go to social gatherings or play with your kids, for example. So when looking at this entire definition of health, it becomes clear that both being overweight or obese and being underweight cannot be healthy. Of course, that doesn't mean that normal weight people can't get sick or injured, because they can. There are many more factors contributing to your health than just your body weight. But it is a fact, a scientifically proven fact, that both being severely underweight and severely overweight drastically increases your all-cause mortality risk compared to normal weight people. Meaning that all other things being equal, being extremely over or underweight puts you at a higher chance of dying. And on average, obesity reduces your lifespan by around 6 to 7 years, which is a lot. And that's because being overweight significantly increases your risk for certain diseases, such as type 2 diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, high blood pressure, high blood cholesterol, fatty liver disease, sleep apnea, osteoarthritis, a variety of cancers. And that's really just the top of the list. But before I get branded as fatphobic or something like that, I want to mention that being underweight is equally unhealthy. I do not have any experience with being overweight, but I do have experience being severely underweight, to the point of almost being hospitalized underweight. And let me tell you, it sucks. When I was a teenager, I was anorexic. This is how I looked like, and I weighed about half of what I weigh today. So not a lot. As a consequence, it probably stunted my growth. I lost my period. I was always freezing cold because no matter how hot it was outside or how many layers of clothes I was wearing, my body just didn't have the energy to keep me warm. Also, I was constantly tired and exhausted and just had no energy whatsoever. After school, I would just sit on my bed and do nothing because even watching TV was too exhausting for me. So this goes to show that I was not healthy, neither physically, nor mentally, nor socially. And it's the same for overweight. It is simply not healthy. Full stop. And we should stop glorifying it. And that's also why I think that healthy at every size is just complete bullshit. However, I do believe in healthier at every size, because there's always something that you can do to improve your health. In my case, I realized that I had a problem and I needed to get help. I went to therapy to fix my relationship with food and with my body. I started eating more, so I also gained weight. I was put on hormone replacement therapy so I wouldn't get osteoporosis at the age of 15. And at some point I was even allowed to start weightlifting to build some muscle mass. And while I was still underweight for several years, and I surely wasn't healthy during that time period, I was much healthier than I was before. What I'm trying to say is that health is not binary. It's not that either you're healthy or you're unhealthy. Rather, it's a spectrum, meaning that you can always become a little bit healthier no matter your starting point. And if you don't know where you should start, then I would actually recommend exercise. Because if there's one weird trick that doctors absolutely gonna love, it is exercise. If exercise were a pill, it would be the most prescribed medicine in the world. Because exercise not only increases your fitness, but it also dramatically reduces your mortality risk. To the point that someone who is slightly overweight but exercises regularly can have the same or even a lower mortality risk than someone who has a normal body weight but is completely sedentary. And exercise doesn't need to be complicated either. I know that fitness YouTubers and Instagrammers, including me sometimes, make it seem like it's this complicated thing that you need to figure out before you can even start. But this is not the case. The simplest thing that almost everyone can do is just go for a walk. And even if it's just 5 minutes, because that's all you can do, just go for a freaking walk. This is all it takes to get started. It's really as simple as that. And with that, I want to end this video here. It's something different. I hope you liked it. So I hope I see y'all in the next video. Bye.